The Forum in Los Angeles was buzzing with anticipation on March 3, 1989, as 17,500 fans waited for Michael Jackson to take the stage for the final show of his Bad World Tour's American leg. Among the crowd was 23-year-old Maria Santos, a florist from East LA who had been planning this moment for over 6 months with the kind of meticulous attention to detail that only true love could inspire. Maria's story began not with typical fan obsession, but with profound gratitude. 2 years earlier, during the darkest period of her life following her younger brother's death in a car accident, Michael Jackson's music had quite literally saved her from despair. When grief threatened to consume her entirely, songs like Man in the Mirror and Human Nature became the soundtrack to her healing journey, helping her find meaning and hope when nothing else could reach her. As a professional florist, Maria understood the language of flowers in ways that most people never considered. Every bloom, every color, every arrangement told a story, conveyed an emotion, or marked a significant moment in someone's life. For Maria, creating the perfect bouquet for Michael Jackson wasn't just about giving a gift to a celebrity, it was about expressing gratitude for the emotional rescue his music had provided during her family's greatest tragedy. Maria had spent weeks researching the symbolic meanings of different flowers, consulting with elderly customers who understood traditional floral language, and carefully selecting each bloom that would comprise her tribute to Michael. The final arrangement was a masterpiece of intentional symbolism. White roses for reverence and new beginnings, red roses for deep love and respect, yellow roses for friendship and joy, purple iris for wisdom and valor, and white lilies for the restoration of innocence after loss. But the centerpiece of Maria's arrangement was something truly special: a single black tulip, extremely rare and difficult to obtain, which in floral symbolism represented rebirth after the deepest sorrow. Maria had contacted flower growers across 3 states to find this particular bloom, paying nearly half her monthly salary to acquire the one flower that perfectly captured what Michael's music had meant to her during her darkest hours. The bouquet was enormous, nearly 3 feet tall and 2 feet wide, and required Maria to purchase 2 concert tickets so she could bring her best friend along, specifically to help carry the arrangement into the venue. The logistics of getting such a large floral tribute through Forum security required careful planning and multiple conversations with venue staff, who were initially suspicious of any fan trying to bring large objects to a Michael Jackson concert. Maria's plan had been simple and respectful. Wait until the concert ended, try to get Michael's attention during his final bows, and somehow convey to him that the flowers represented gratitude rather than typical fan worship. She had no intention of disrupting the show or creating a spectacle. She simply wanted to deliver her message of thanks in the most beautiful way she knew how. But sometimes the universe has different plans than the ones we make for ourselves. The concert had been absolutely electrifying. Michael's performance that night was particularly powerful, as if he knew this was a significant moment in his touring career. He moved through his hits with the polish of someone at the absolute peak of his artistic abilities, but there was also an emotional depth to his delivery that suggested he was feeling the weight of ending this chapter of his musical journey. During Billie Jean, Michael's dancing was so mesmerizing that the entire Forum seemed to move as one organism, swaying to rhythms that seemed to pulse through the floor and walls of the venue. When he performed Beat It, the guitar solos were so intense that Maria could feel the vibrations in her chest. And during Thriller, the collective energy of 17,500 people participating in the iconic choreography created an atmosphere of pure magic. But it was during Man in the Mirror, the song that had been most important to Maria's healing process, that everything changed. As Michael sang the lyrics about making a change and looking at yourself, Maria felt overwhelmed by the same emotions she had experienced during her brother's funeral, but transformed now into gratitude rather than grief. The song had helped her understand that healing required her to take responsibility for her own recovery, and seeing Michael perform it live felt like a completion of a journey that had begun in her darkest hour. Without planning or conscious decision, Maria found herself moving. The flowers seemed to pull her forward as if they had their own magnetic force drawing them toward their intended recipient. Before she fully realized what she was doing, Maria had climbed over the barrier separating the audience from the stage and was running across the forum floor with her massive bouquet clutched against her chest. Security guards immediately began converging on Maria from multiple directions, but she was motivated by something more powerful than fear of arrest or embarrassment. This was her moment to complete a promise she had made to herself and to her brother's memory, to thank the artist whose music had helped her choose life over despair. Michael Jackson was in the middle of the song's most emotionally intense passage when he noticed the commotion. A young woman in a simple blue dress was running toward the stage carrying what appeared to be the largest flower arrangement he had ever seen, while security guards pursued her from behind. But instead of fear or annoyance, Michael's first instinct was curiosity about the story behind such an elaborate and obviously heartfelt gesture. What Michael Jackson did next would create one of the most beloved moments in concert history and establish a new standard for how artists could respond to passionate fan expressions. Instead of allowing security to remove Maria, Michael raised his hand to signal them to stop. He walked to the edge of the stage, knelt down, and extended his arms to help Maria up onto the platform with her flowers. The 17,500 people in the forum erupted in surprised cheers as they realized they were witnessing something completely unscripted and authentic. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Michael asked Maria as she stood on stage, still clutching her enormous bouquet and trembling with adrenaline and disbelief. "Maria," she managed to whisper, her voice barely audible despite the microphone Michael held near her. "And what do we have here?" Michael asked, gesturing toward the spectacular flower arrangement that was nearly as tall as Maria herself. What happened next would be replayed on television stations around the world and become one of the most touching celebrity fan interactions ever captured on video. Maria, finding her voice and her courage in front of 17,000 people, began explaining the significance of each flower in her arrangement. She told Michael about the white roses representing new beginnings, the red roses representing her love for his music, and the yellow roses representing the friendship she felt with him even though they had never met. But when Maria reached the black tulip in the center of the arrangement, her voice broke with emotion. She explained how this rare flower represented rebirth after the deepest sorrow, and how Michael's music had helped her find the strength to rebuild her life after losing her brother. The forum fell completely silent as Maria shared her story. Even Michael, known for his emotional sensitivity and connection with his fans, seemed moved by the depth of meaning behind the floral tribute. When Maria finished explaining the symbolism of her gift, Michael did something that stunned everyone present. He asked Maria to stay on stage with him for the remainder of Man in the Mirror, and together they completed the song as a duet, not because Maria was a trained singer, but because Michael recognized that she had lived the transformation the song described. As they sang together, Michael held the enormous bouquet in one arm while supporting Maria with the other, creating an image of artistic collaboration and human connection that transcended the typical performer-audience relationship. The crowd sang along with increased passion, understanding that they were witnessing something rare and authentic. When the song ended, Michael made an announcement that brought the entire venue to tears. "Maria has just reminded me why we make music. It's not for the charts or the awards or the fame. It's for the people who need healing, who need hope, who need to know they're not alone in their struggles." Then Michael did something unprecedented in his concert career. He asked Maria to keep her flowers, but he wanted to give her something in return. He removed the black fedora he had been wearing throughout the show and placed it gently on Maria's head. "This hat has been with me through some of my most important performances," Michael said, "but I think it belongs with someone who understands that music is about healing hearts and changing lives." The crowd's response was thunderous, but what made the moment truly special was what Michael said next. "Maria, would you do me an honor? Would you help me give flowers to other people who might need them tonight?" Together, Michael and Maria walked through the front sections of the forum, giving individual flowers from her bouquet to other fans, while Michael spoke about the importance of spreading love and kindness in whatever ways we could. The sight of the world's most famous entertainer and a young florist from East LA working together to brighten other people's evening created a chain reaction of generosity and connection throughout the venue. By the end of the evening, Maria's carefully planned floral tribute had become dozens of individual gifts that fans carried home as reminders of the night when Michael Jackson showed them that the most important performances happen when we care for each other. The aftermath of Maria Santos' stage rush and Michael Jackson's gracious response created lasting changes that extended far beyond one memorable concert night. The footage of their interaction became one of the most widely shared pieces of Michael Jackson concert material, but more importantly, it inspired a new approach to fan-artist relationships that emphasized mutual respect and genuine human connection. Maria's life was transformed by her experience in ways that perfectly honored the original intention behind her floral tribute. The confidence she had gained from Michael's recognition of her story and her symbolic gift inspired her to expand her florist business into something much more meaningful, a grief counseling service that used floral therapy to help people process loss and